Hey, it's Nexus. Ever noticed how you can be surrounded by people and still feel completely alone? Like you're at dinner with friends. Everyone's talking, laughing, but you feel invisible. Or you scroll through your feed, hundreds of posts, thousands of connections, but when you put the phone down, there's this emptiness, this gap.
Here's what makes this strange. We have more ways to connect than any humans in history. More tools, more platforms, more possibilities. And yet, 1 in 6 people around the world report feeling lonely. That's the World Health Organization, not a small study, a global finding. 1 in 6. Think about that. In the time it takes you to watch this video, 100 people will die from health problems linked to loneliness. 100 every hour.
If you're feeling this right now, if you're one of those people experiencing loneliness, you're not broken. You're not doing something wrong. You're not failing at being human. This is happening to millions of people. Smart people, connected people, people who are trying. This isn't about lacking people in your life. It's something deeper. Let's figure out what it is. Because once you understand loneliness differently, everything changes. Not fixing, understanding. Let's explore this together.
So here's where it gets interesting. We think loneliness means being alone. That's what the word sounds like, right? Lonely, alone. But it's not. You can be alone and not feel lonely at all. And you can be surrounded by people and feel profoundly lonely. Think about it. You're at that dinner party, friends around the table, conversation flowing, but you feel like you're watching through glass, present but not really there, seen but not really known.
Or this. You have 1,000 followers, comments on your posts, messages coming in. But at 3 in the morning, when you really need someone, there's no one to call. See? Loneliness isn't about being alone. It's about a gap. The gap between the connection you have and the connection you need. And that gap, it hurts. Not in a small way, in a way that reaches into your chest. Because you're trying, you're showing up, you're doing the things you're supposed to do, but something still feels missing. 2 people can be in the same situation, same number of friends, same social life. One feels fine, the other feels deeply lonely. Why? Because loneliness is subjective. It's not about how many people are around you. It's about whether those connections feel like enough, whether they meet what you're hungry for.
And here's another layer. Not all aloneness is loneliness. There's a difference, a big one. Loneliness is unwanted. It's painful. It's that feeling of disconnection you didn't choose. But solitude? Solitude is chosen. It's when you want to be alone, need to be alone, and it feels good, restorative, peaceful. Think about monks who choose silence. They're alone, but they're not lonely. Think about introverts who need time by themselves to recharge. Alone, not lonely.
You can be alone without being lonely. That's solitude. And you can be with others and still feel lonely. That's the paradox. And maybe you've been trying to fix this, adding more people, saying yes to every invitation, staying busy, staying social, thinking, if I just have more connections, the loneliness will go away. But it doesn't, because it's not about more.
So it's not about the number of people. It's about two things: choice and quality. Do you want to be alone right now? Then it's solitude, not loneliness. Is the connection you have the kind you need? If yes, you're not lonely. If no, there's the gap. Two distinctions. Loneliness isn't about being alone. It's about the gap between what you have and what you need. And not all aloneness is loneliness. Solitude is chosen. Loneliness is not. Once you see these two things clearly, everything else makes sense.
So here's where things get strange. We live in the most connected time in human history. Think about it. 100 years ago, if you wanted to talk to someone far away, you wrote a letter, waited weeks, maybe months. Now, you can video call someone on the other side of the planet, instantly. You can share your thoughts with thousands of people. You can join communities about anything you're interested in. You can find people who understand you, no matter how specific your experience. The tools for connection have never been better, and yet, loneliness has never been worse.
Here's a study that surprised researchers. They looked at how many social media platforms people use, and they found something nobody expected. The more platforms you're on, the lonelier you feel. Not less lonely, more. 3 times more likely to feel socially isolated if you're on 7 or more platforms compared to 2 or fewer. Think about what that means. You're on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, LinkedIn, Snapchat, Discord. You're posting, commenting, liking, connecting, doing all the things you're supposed to do to stay connected. And somehow, you feel more alone than ever.
Wait, everyone else has more friends than me. Look at their photos. Look how happy they are. Why am I the only one who feels like this? What's wrong with me?
That voice, that comparing, that self-blame, that's not you being dramatic. That's your brain doing what it's been doing for thousands of years, scanning for social threats, because to your ancient brain, being left out of the group meant death. So it watches, compares, worries. Am I enough? Do people like me? Am I being left behind? But here's the thing. More connections don't equal better connections.
You can have 1,000 followers and 0 friends. You can be in 10 group chats and still have no one to call at 3 in the morning. Because it's not about quantity, it's about quality. Remember the gap? The gap between what you have and what you need? All these platforms, all these connections, they're giving you more, but they're not giving you what you need. And your monkey brain knows it. It can feel the difference between being seen and being truly known, between having people around and having people who really get you. That's the paradox. More connection, more loneliness. Not because the tools don't work, but because they're solving the wrong problem.
So why does loneliness hurt so much? Not just emotionally, actually hurt, like physically. There's a reason for that. Scientists put people in brain scanners, MRI machines, and they looked at what happens in the brain when someone feels rejected, left out, socially excluded. And here's what they found. The same brain regions that light up when you experience physical pain light up when you experience social pain.
The anterior cingulate cortex, the part of your brain that processes pain, it doesn't distinguish between stubbing your toe and being left out of the group. To your brain, rejection hurts the same way a physical wound does. And here's where it gets really interesting. Researchers did an experiment. They gave people Tylenol, regular over-the-counter pain medication, not for a headache, for loneliness. And you know what happened? People who took Tylenol reported feeling less social pain, less hurt from rejection.
Think about that. A pain medication designed for your body helped with the pain in your heart, because to your brain, they're the same thing.
I know this hurts. I feel it too. That's why I'm watching everyone so carefully, checking if you're safe, if you belong. I'm not trying to torture you with comparing. I'm trying to protect you from this pain, from being rejected, from being alone.
See? Your monkey brain isn't the enemy. It's trying to keep you safe from something that genuinely hurts. And that hurt? It's not just in your head. Remember that statistic from the beginning? 100 people every hour. Loneliness doesn't just feel bad. It affects your immune system, your cardiovascular health, your inflammation levels, your stress hormones. Chronic loneliness creates the same stress response as chronic physical pain. Your body stays in fight or flight mode. Cortisol stays elevated. Inflammation increases. Your immune system weakens.
That's why loneliness is linked to heart disease, stroke, dementia, shorter lifespan. It's not metaphorical. Social pain is real pain, and your body knows it.
I'm so tired of scanning for danger, of checking if you're safe, but I don't know how to stop because the threat feels real. The pain is real.
Yeah, it is real. And understanding that changes how we see this. Here's something important to understand. Not all loneliness is the same. The loneliness you feel when you break up with someone, that's different from the loneliness you feel when you move to a new city. Different pain, different need. And if you don't know which kind you're experiencing, you can't address what's actually missing. There are 4 types, and each one tells you something different about what you need.
First, emotional loneliness. This is the loneliness of intimacy. You can be surrounded by people and still feel this, because what you're missing isn't people, it's closeness. The feeling of being truly known by someone, understood, safe enough to be vulnerable. This is the loneliness you feel when you don't have that one person who really gets you.
Second, social loneliness. This is about belonging. It's that feeling when everyone else seems to have their group and you're on the outside. You're not looking for deep intimacy. You're looking for community, for people to do things with, for a place where you fit. This is the loneliness you feel when you don't have a circle.
Third, collective loneliness. This is bigger. It's about feeling disconnected from something larger than yourself. Your culture, your community, a sense of shared identity or purpose. This is the loneliness immigrants often feel, or people who've lost connection to their roots, their traditions. The feeling that you don't belong anywhere, not just to any group.
Fourth, existential loneliness. This is the deepest. The loneliness that comes from being human. The realization that no matter how close you are to someone, there are parts of your experience they can never fully share. You're fundamentally alone in your own consciousness. This is the loneliness philosophers talk about. The loneliness you feel when you're facing something big, death, meaning, the nature of existence.
4 different types, 4 different needs.
You already know which one you're feeling. Beneath all the noise, beneath all the trying to fix it, you know what you need.
That voice, that quiet knowing, that's always there, even when you can't hear it clearly. And here's the cruel part, the paradox within the paradox. To address any of these types of loneliness, you need to be vulnerable. You need to reach out, show up authentically, let people see who you really are. But loneliness makes that almost impossible.
When you're lonely, you feel less worthy of connection, more afraid of rejection, more likely to hide the very parts of yourself that could create real connection. You need vulnerability to connect, but loneliness takes away your capacity for vulnerability. That's the trap. Different types, different needs, same cruel difficulty.
Ancient wisdom traditions understood something about loneliness that we're only now rediscovering. In southern Africa, there's a philosophy called Ubuntu. It translates roughly as, "I am because we are." Your existence is fundamentally relational. You don't exist as a separate individual who then chooses to connect with others. You exist because you're already connected.
Think about it. Every breath you take comes from oxygen that plants created. Every thought you have uses language that others taught you. Every cell in your body contains material that was once part of something else. You are literally made of connection.
Buddhism teaches something similar, interdependence. Nothing exists in isolation. You think you're separate, a single person, alone, but you're actually a node in an infinite web, connected to everyone who's ever touched your life, everyone who made the things you use, everyone who shares this moment on earth with you. The loneliness you feel, it's not because you're separate.
It's because you've forgotten you're connected, or the connections you have aren't the ones you need. Remember the 4 types, the different kinds of loneliness? Each one is pointing to a different thread in the web that needs attention. Emotional loneliness, the intimate threads need strengthening. Social loneliness, the community threads need weaving. Collective loneliness, you've lost sight of the larger pattern. Existential loneliness, you're seeing the web clearly, but feeling the fundamental mystery of being. You're never truly alone, but you can feel alone. And that feeling is information about which threads need care.
But we also have to talk about why this is happening now, why loneliness is epidemic. And the answer isn't just in your brain or your choices, it's structural. Think about third places, not home, not work, the places where community happens naturally. Coffee shops where you know the barista, community centers, libraries, parks, bookstores, the places you'd run into neighbors, have unplanned conversations, build weak ties with people in your area. Those places are disappearing, or they're being replaced by spaces designed for consumption, not connection. You don't linger,
You don't chat. You order on an app and leave.
Work has changed too. Longer hours, more isolation, gig economy. Remote work can be amazing, but it also means you're not bumping into people. You're not having those tiny moments of connection that used to happen naturally. Cities are designed for cars, not people. Suburbs sprawl. You need to drive to see anyone. Walking to a neighbor's house? That's not how it works anymore. Social media promised connection, but delivered performance, curation, comparison, not the messy, real, vulnerable connection humans actually need.
So yes, your brain and your choices matter, but so do the systems, the structures, the way society is designed. And those structures, they're failing you. We work longer hours, we commute farther, we order everything online, we stay home and scroll. The coffee shop became a Starbucks, where everyone works alone with headphones. The community center lost its funding. The library shortened its hours. The park feels unsafe. The bookstore closed. You're not failing at connection. The systems that used to make connection easy are failing you.
Let's pause here for a moment. All this time, you've been asking, what's wrong with me? But that's not the right question. The right question is, what do I need? Not, why am I broken? But what kind of connection am I hungry for? You're not broken. You're human, living in a world that wasn't designed for human connection, and you're doing the best you can.
That reframe from what's wrong with me to what do I need, that's not small. That's the difference between shame and curiosity, between self-attack and self-compassion. Remember at the beginning when we said, you're not broken, you're not doing something wrong, you're not failing at being human? Now you can see why. The gap you feel isn't a personal failure. It's information about what you need, about which threads need attention, about where the system isn't supporting what humans actually require. And once you see it that way, everything shifts.
Let's bring this all together. Think of loneliness as a map, 4 directions, all pointing to the same center. North, your brain and body, the anterior cingulate cortex lighting up, social pain registering as physical pain, your nervous system in fight or flight, inflammation rising. This direction tells you the pain is real.
East, the 4 types: emotional loneliness, social loneliness, collective loneliness, existential loneliness. This direction tells you different needs require different connections. South, the structures: third places disappearing, work hours extending, community spaces closing, the systems that used to support connection crumbling. This direction tells you it's not just you, the world changed.
West, ancient wisdom. I am because we are. You're never truly separate, just threads in the web needing attention. This direction tells you connection is your nature, not a skill to learn. And at the center of all of it, the gap. The space between the connection you have and the connection you need. That's what loneliness is.
not a character flaw, not a personal failure, not something broken in you. An information signal.
Your loneliness is your system saying, this thread needs attention. This type of connection is missing. This need isn't being met. This part of the web is fraying.
Oh, I see it now. I wasn't failing you. I was trying to tell you something. All that comparing, all that worrying, all that scanning for danger. I was pointing at the gap, saying, this hurts because something real is missing. I don't have to fight anymore. You understand now. I can rest.
You were protecting, not failing. And now you can let go.
See what just happened? The voice that was attacking you wasn't an enemy. It was a messenger. And once you understand the message, everything changes. Not because loneliness disappears, but because you stop fighting yourself. You see the gap. You understand what you need. You know which thread needs care. That's clarity, not a solution. Understanding.
You just spent 23 minutes seeing loneliness differently. Not as something to fix, but as something to understand. Before we close, let's bring this into your body.
Take a moment. Notice where you are right now. Feel your breath, not changing it, just noticing. Notice where your body touches the chair, the ground, the weight of yourself, held. And now, gently scan through your body. Is there any place that feels tense? Any place that's holding the weight of what we've explored? Your chest, your shoulders, your jaw, your stomach. Just notice. You don't have to fix anything. Just notice.
This understanding we've been building, it's not just in your head. Your body has been listening too. And maybe you can feel something shifting. Not fixed, just understood. Three questions to sit with. You don't need to answer them right now. Just let them breathe. 1. What surprised you most in what we explored today? 2. Which type of loneliness resonates most with you right now? Emotional, social, collective, existential? 3. What thread in your web needs attention? Not to fix, just to notice.
That's all. You're not broken. You're not failing. You're human. And loneliness is information. Take what resonates. Leave what doesn't. Thanks for exploring this with me. I'm Nexus. See you next time.